In today's episode of No Overtime, we're going to be talking about the NFL offseason moves as well as the MLB opening week, including the Yankees' new bats. Welcome back to No Overtime. In today's episode, we will be breaking down some of the biggest NFL free agency moves and giving our early reactions to the MLB season. Let's start with the Justin Fields to the Jets. What would you grade this?
Yeah, so I'd probably give this a B+. I like this move a lot for the Jets. You know, he gives them a dynamic quarterback who could kind of scramble a bit, something we haven't had for a while. $20 million a year, that is kind of a lot. But, he's a young player, and, I don't think he's going to lead them to the playoffs, but it is worth seeing, if he could be a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an A-. I think this is a great deal because in today's NFL, it's good to have a quarterback who can throw the ball but also be mobile in the pocket. And I think that's kind of was a big reason that Rodgers got sacked a lot is because he couldn't really roll out of the pocket. You can't run any play action with Rodgers because he's 40, he's slow.
Yeah.
And I think the Jets, they've always had a hard time finding a good quarterback that fits in their offense. And I think Fields, especially with that chemistry that he had with Garrett Wilson at Ohio State, I think it's a great move. But let's move to Stephon Diggs to the Patriots. 3 years, $69 million. I'm going to give it a C on this one.
Yeah, some people may not be happy with this one, but I'm going to give it a C+. I like Drake May a lot. I think, Diggs and him will be good this year, but I think he's just too old for this type of money. I do think it was an overpay, but, they could afford this move, so I see why they did it. He was kind of the best wide receiver available at that point, so I really don't blame him, but I think he could have a good season, just way too much money.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Next, we have Cooper Kupp, 3 years, $45 million to the Seahawks. I'm going to give this one a C.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a B-, maybe a B. If he could stay healthy, I really do like this move because now the Seahawks have two good wide receivers with Sam Darnold. But, he's 31 years old. He's had a history of injuries, so I don't really trust him to play a full season.
Yeah, me neither. Finally, Russell Wilson's to the Giants, a 1 year, $10.5 million, but with incentives, if he plays good, he could get up to $21 million. I don't love it. I'm going to have to grade it a D.
Yeah, I don't like it either, but I'm still optimistic about the move. I'll give it a C. This tells me the Giants are going to wait for a quarterback in a future draft, but I think, him and Malik Neighbors could have a lot of potential.
Yeah, I just think the Giants look too much more like the Jets the past couple of years. They got Rodgers, and they didn't really improve much. Their offense improved a little bit, but their records stayed.
They both have a young receiver, Malik Neighbors, Garrett Wilson, both really good receivers, but their quarterbacks just haven't been able to really get them the ball.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the MLB. Opening week is in the books, and one team is standing above the rest. The Dodgers 7-0. They look ready to go back-to-back this year.
Yeah, it's hard to see anyone beating them in a playoff series. They probably have the best team and rotation. They have Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Dustin May, and Roki Sasaki, who struggled early but has a lot of potential. And they also have Shohei Ohtani, who's expected to pitch in May, and Clayton Kershaw, who could return later in the season. So they have 7 to 8 good starting pitchers. I don't know how they're really going to use them all, maybe put some in the bullpen, but, if these guys were to get traded, they would be a top 3 pitcher on a new team. That's just how good they are.
Yeah, they have really good depth. But moving on to the Yankees, Aaron Judge is off to a great start. He has 4 homers, 11 RBIs, and he's batting a .400 through the first 4 games of the season.
Yeah, and then moving over to Chicago, Kyle Tucker, he leads the league in RBIs also with 11. He has 4 home runs and the most total bases with 29. So it is early, but it looks like he could have a really good year on his new team.
All right. But the Yankees started opening week by sweeping the Brewers, and they put up an impressive 36 runs through those 3 games. But a big question is, are their new 2 torpedo bats fair game or are they illegal?
Technically, according to the MLB rules, they are fair. I think they are fine for now because other teams are starting to use them. Obviously, if a team scores 30-plus runs in 3 games and they're using new bats, people are going to get suspicious. But I think it's fine for now. We're going to see how other players do it. If players who weren't so good before start having like insane numbers, I think the MLB is going to step in and ban them. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is just like the new generation of baseball, is these new bats.
Yeah. So currently 5 players on the Yankees are using these bats: Volpe, Chisholm, Cody Bellinger, Austin Wells, and Paul Goldschmidt. And between them, they've already hit 10 home runs. Let's go to Cruising the Halls with Noah Mueller for his thoughts on these bats. Noah, what are your thoughts on the Yankees' new bats?
I think the bats add a lot of emphasis onto hitting the ball further and more of an emphasis on in terms of pitchers on getting strikeouts and not just leaving it up to the fielders because there's more pop on that bat. And honestly, I think it's a good change for the game.
Yeah. Do you think these bats should be legal or illegal?
I think for now they should be legal. If they're being really overused, maybe reevaluated, but as of right now, I don't see it as much of a problem.
Back to you guys on the set. We're cutting that out.
All right, who am I here with?
JJ Marshall.
And who's your favorite MLB team?
I gotta go with the Yankees.
Do you plan on going to any games this year?
Of course.
Is there anyone you typically go with?
I usually go with my dad or my cousin.
And who would you say is your favorite MLB player?
Right now you gotta go Aaron Judge.
Yeah, you got to go Aaron Judge. All right, back to you guys on the set.
That's all for this episode of No Overtime. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next time to break down the NBA playoff picture. We'll see you then.